Domina 2 golas do adversário.
Controlling my opponent from the 4-point position, I'm going to come to the side of his body. If he grabs my leg and I let him, he's going to take me down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to his side. But as soon as he grabs my leg, I'm going to trap his leg and bring his arm back. And at the same time, I'm going to make room for my hand to come right to his gi collar and trap his neck. And my other hand is going to come to the other side on his gi lapel, or I want to grab his wrist. I want to grab his gi lapel, and then I'm going to bring my weight forward on top of his body. I don't want to roll. I just want to bring my weight on top of his shoulder, putting pressure on the neck. Sometimes when your opponent grabs your leg, but he don't quite grab it all the way, just a little, you can finish him with an arm lock right there. But if he grabs you all the way, then you bring his arm back and trap it. One more time. I'm controlling my opponent in 4 points and I come to the side. As soon as he grabs my leg, I bring his arm back and trap him. And then I bring my hand on his gi collar, and with my other hand I go to his other gi collar and put my weight on top of him for the choke. It's important for me to put my weight on top of his shoulders. So I use my shoulders against his shoulders, and then I get a good base and I switch my hips. But be careful, don't overdo it because you'll tip over yourself. So keep right on top of him and get good base with your foot. It's a really strong choke, and you can finish your opponent really fast with it. Because sometimes your opponent wants to come out and wants to flip over. But it's not going to work because with your shoulder you're stopping him. And you put in a lot of pressure on him. So, but remember, don't let yourself go over too much because then you lose the position. One more time. So I'm controlling. When he grabs my leg, I control his arm and I bring it back. Then I go to his gi collar, and then my other hand goes to his gi lapel. Then I bring my body, my shoulder, on top of his shoulder, putting all my weight. It's a really quick finish. It's got a lot of pressure on his neck. If you do it the right way, for sure you'll finish your opponent fast. Okay, now, the most important part on this technique, it will be your shoulder and your leg. So once you control your opponent with your hand around his neck, you have to bring your shoulder on top of the back of his head, and then you have to open your leg for you to get base. So your shoulder and your leg will give you the base for you to finish strong on this technique. And then switch your hip, drop your hip down, and that will put the pressure on your opponent's neck. So remember, your shoulder on top, on the back of his head, and your leg. It'll give you really good base for you to finish your opponent fast. From the guard, the most important thing, I want to control my opponent's arm. I'm coming cross grip on my opponent's arm. Once I'm controlling, make sure that he's not grabbing my gi or my belt, peel his grip off. I'm going to pull his arm to the side, and then I'm going to do a sit-up like if I want to go for his back. But my opponent won't let me, so he tries to get his arm out, and when he does that, I put more pressure on his arm. I trap his arm with my chest, so my opponent won't be able to get his arm out. Once I do that, then I come and hug my opponent's leg with my other arm, and then I roll him over. So I go to my back and I roll my opponent over, and then up on the mount. On this technique from the guard, the most important part is for me to control my opponent's arm. I'm coming cross grip on his arm, and I'm gonna make sure that he's not grabbing my gi or my belt. So I peel his grip off, and then I do a sit-up once I pull his hand to the side, and when he tries to recover his arm for posture, I bring my chest close to his arm and I trap him. So again, when he tries to get his arm out, with my chest I trap him. And then my hand is gonna come and hug his leg. I roll over my back, and I flip my opponent over. I roll him over. And I'm going to end up on the mount.